Hey folks, it's time for the monthly video update. I think that's what we call it, monthly update with President Khan. That's me. It's been, I think we skipped last month, or didn't mean to, but we did. So I'm just going to include 5 or 6 highlights of things going on at the institution. So thanks for tuning in. First thing I wanted to make sure everyone knows, although I'm pretty sure you all know, is that we are almost halfway into the quarter. I can't believe that. And as I think we reported multiple times, enrollment is up, which I think probably, again, everybody knows that. But just to emphasize that it's a huge deal here at Shoreline, particularly given that it's been several years with the trend being down. So we're all very excited, almost 5%. I think it was 4.6, 4.7%. First time fall up in at least 5 years at Shoreline. So that's really attributable to all the great work you all are doing out there. And I brag about it, particularly in the context of post-ransomware, we're still 5%, almost 5% up. So it really speaks to all the wonderful work our faculty are doing in the classroom, staff and administrators are doing inside and outside of all of our operations. So thank you for all of that. Secondly, just a quick update about accreditation, just where we are. Just want to remind everybody that we have our accreditation visit this April, and we're doing all kinds of things to prepare for that. So keep on the lookout for emails and our weekly updates, but just a few highlights. One, we are going to do a mock accreditation visit. So we're actually having someone from the outside who does this kind of work, who attends other colleges and evaluates them, is going to do a mock evaluation of our report and where we are. They're going to come here and we're going to practice. So that's going to happen prior to the April visit. We're also able to send our report to someone else who's going to give us feedback about our report, what it looks like, before we actually have to submit it to the commission. This reminds me, faculty, I don't know if you do anything like this. I used to do this when I was a faculty member. I used to let my students turn in papers 2 weeks before they were due, and I'd give them feedback like, if you would turn this in right now, this would be a B- or whatever. Do this, do this, do this, do this if you're looking for an A or whatever. So we're looking for an A, just to be clear, Dr. Garnsey Harder. So we are looking, she might be looking for an A+, but I'll settle for an A. So we'll have the mock visit and that practice beforehand. And there'll be plenty of opportunities up until then to learn more about how we're doing and what's going on. Probably the most prominent right now that will affect the campus is that we'll be rolling out the area reviews for this planning year. So many of you in instruction probably have already seen it. Others of us will be getting them pretty soon. This version won't be due until March, but you'll be getting it soon so you can start working in your units to update your goals and start thinking about planning for next year. Now, Rob's looking at me like, didn't I just do this in my unit? And the answer is yes, but it's because we're a little bit off kilter with our new system of doing this. So it won't feel this way next year. But right now, last year we were a little behind, so it feels like we're a little bit backed up. But the nice thing is that the Planning and Institutional Effectiveness unit is going to take all the information from our previous area reviews and pre-populate the one for this year. So you won't have to recreate the wheel where it's not necessary. You'll just need to update new goals. If there's progress you've made on certain areas, you'll see that. So that's probably the most important thing. Also related to that, hoping by next week that I'll be releasing Planning Memo number 2, which will be an update on our budget process, institutional planning, what are some of the big picture things that we're working on at the college, and prioritization of hiring in different positions. So my goal is to have that completed by our November monthly meeting, which I think is the 16th. So stay tuned for that, and keeping my fingers crossed we can get all that done. Number 3, I just wanted to mention one probably big picture thing that you'll notice this year and hopefully we'll be engaged in, is that we're really moving this year to developing more strategic methods and initiatives in how we do our work. So the beginning of the year, many of you heard my pitch for who we need to serve and see more at the college and how we need to serve them in a more systemic, structured, and proactive way. And so all of those conversations are coming to strategic enrollment management, to our outreach program, to different conversations, so that this year we really start building in some momentum, using data, and being more strategic about who we're reaching out to, what kind of retention practices that we're using at the institution, what's working and what's not working, and then making modifications. So you'll see more and more of that roll out this year. So another really important project to update everybody on our board unanimously approved our naming project for our new Capitol buildings and the campus itself, which comes from a project that connects our associated student government, some of our Indigenous partners, and local representatives to first name our buildings after the Indigenous flora on campus, and then to include native Lachute language in that display and interpretation. So the formerly known Health Sciences and Advanced Manufacturing complex, I'm missing another C, my apologies, you can see part of the problem of that name, is for now going forward, the Cedar Building. And the Cedar Building will also, Rob's going like this, which I thank you very much. This is super cool. In the building itself, so on the building where it says Cedar, next to it, it will say Cedar and Lachute Seed. And when you walk in the building, there's going to be a QR code on this plaque that kind of describes the process that we've been working with some of our Native colleagues on this. And you'll be able to click the QR code and hear the pronunciation in Lachute Seed. So that'll be for that building. Next week, we also will be doing the same thing, meeting with the Associated Student Government to rename the STEAM building similarly. So all of our buildings will have this kind of Indigenous flora concept, which came from our students. It's also really important for us as an institution. Naming is a big deal. The traditional types of naming often include naming after people or naming after disciplines. The naming after disciplines is problematic because disciplines change. So that's partially what caused the problem here in the first place, is that the naming of the buildings over the last couple of years, the disciplines have changed that are going in there, so it's not super accurate. The other thing, naming around people is also a more traditional Western way of doing that. So we kind of like this idea of doing something that reflected something the students were excited about, and also something we could get direction from some of our Native colleagues. So it's really cool. And you'll hear more about that later, and more projects that are coming from our collaborations, particularly with some folks from the Muckleshoot tribe who actually were up on campus last week. So more on that soon. We have had a ton of community engagements in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So I know we want to keep this video relatively short, so I'll just mention a few of them. One was with King County Sheriff's Office, our local police department, Kent Police Department, and that was the Gift Cards for Guns event, where people came in, brought old guns, and then got gift cards for exchange for those guns. And now what you're thinking, how much gift cards did they get? And I learned at the event, depends on the gun. So certain guns you got more gift cards for than others. My understanding was that we wound up getting well over 300 guns returned in that period. It was pretty good. It was a great collaborative event and very, very positive. And the way they had it organized was just so incredibly impressive. So very excited that we were able to work with King County Sheriff's Office. They loved doing it here, by the way, on our campus, having the space. They had all these different I don't have time for the video, but it was really organized well and interesting to learn about how they did it, to make sure there was safety in how they were collecting the guns and making sure everything was protected and taken care of. Really, really well done. We had the great annual advisory committee where we have our K-12 representatives, industry representatives, faculty, administrators all together talking about our career technical programs. Fantastic event, filled the room, getting input from our community about how we're doing and ideas about our different career programs. Really, really wonderful event. And then finally, last one I'll mention is the flamenco event that we had on campus. This was brought to us by the Consulate of Spain. We had it great success with that event. Lots of people here. It was a beautiful event. And one of the things that I really appreciated afterwards, people kind of milling around, we really drew various members of the Hispanic Latinx community. So just listening to people speaking in Spanish. Presumably my Spanish understanding is it's okay, not fantastic, but it was just wonderful to hear people speaking in Spanish. And actually, someone thanked me specifically for having an event that focused on Spanish language in the Shoreline, which I thought was really cool. Last but not least, I want to thank every single person that was here and supported our foundation event last Friday. I was completely blown away by what a great job the foundation folks did here. We had 240 people here, a state representative, the mayors. We had lots of community representatives from all the different great work that we've been doing here. Members from our team, our folks here, and my understanding, and I'll double check with Wendy, make sure this is okay to publish, we met our goal and raised over $100,000 for that one event, which is like triple what it almost, well, I don't want to get in trouble, almost triple what it was last year. So really, really great event. And just personally, again, besides knowing that this money is raised specifically, it's going all to students. So it just, all the dollars go directly to students. It's very exciting. And just, I was able to mill about. I was supposed to kind of mill about. And just seeing different people connecting with each other, like people I knew that were meeting for the first time, and seeing some of our community organizers and different representatives, it was such a powerful and positive space. So I really want to thank the foundation. My understanding is, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, I would have loved to give. You still can. So please check the foundation webpage if you still want to donate to the Giving Table event. But it was really, really beautiful. So I think, Rob, that's enough of an update. If you have any other questions for me, of course, feel free to email, come by my virtual office hours, or please stop by our monthly community engagement events and you can ask. And if I know the answer, I'll let you know. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, week, etc. Take care.